Bitcoin at $42,000. Most people will not see this coming, and this is exactly why they will lose money. In this video, I'm gonna show you why we are still far from the bottom, which event could trigger the final crash, and at the very end, I will reveal the one thing I'm personally doing right now while everyone is panic selling. Let me be straight with you. We are now 50% below all-time high, around $126,000 from October 25. The Fear and Greed Index recently hit 11, the lowest point of the entire cycle. People are scared, and when people are scared, they make emotional decisions. But here's what most people get wrong. Fear does not mean the bottom. We're only 16 days into what historically has been the summer lull. Every single cycle, the real bottom came in late summer or early autumn. A bottom in June would be extremely unusual. I don't believe in unusual things when the data tells a different story. This is my third Bitcoin cycle, and the pattern has always been the same, shifted by a few months, but always the same. Now let us talk about what is actually driving the markets right now, because this is where it gets interesting. Last night, the Bank of Japan raised interest to 1%, the highest level in 31 years. Most retail investors heard about that and just moved on. Big mistake. Here's what actually is happening beneath the surface. For decades, institutions borrowed cheap Japanese yen and invested that money into higher yielding assets. US treasuries, stocks, Bitcoin. This is called the carry trade. When Japan raises rates, that trade becomes less attractive. Positions get unwound, money flows back to Japan, and assets like Bitcoin feel the pressure. We've seen this pattern before. After every single Bank of Japan rate hike, 24, Bitcoin dropped between 18 and 22%, on average 20% depending on your broker. And we're not done yet. The market already priced this hike in. But what about the next one and the one after? This is a slow-moving but powerful headwind. And the most people are completely ignoring it. But the carry trade is not what keeps me up at night. What I'm watching and what almost nobody is talking about is a black swan event. Every single cycle had one, an external shock that nobody saw coming. 2018, regulatory pressure crushed the market. 2020, COVID crashed everything in 48 hours. 2022, Luna collapsed the FTX. Billions of dollars gone overnight. People lost everything. Not because Bitcoin failed, but because the infrastructure around it failed. And right now, there are similar pressure points building. Think about a scenario where a major stablecoin loses its peg, something like Tether. $115 billion in circulation, never fully audited. If confidence breaks, even in 48 hours, the panic would be unlike anything we've ever seen before. People would not just sell, they wouldn't be able to sell. Exchanges would freeze, and by the time everything is unlocked, the damage would be already done. This is the shakeout I'm expecting. Not tomorrow, not next week, but before the cycle finds its real bottom. And the bottom, in my view, is somewhere around $42,000. Let me explain why 42K is not a random number. First, the 200-week moving average sits around that zone. Historically, Bitcoin has touched this level every single cycle bottom. Every single time, without exception. Second, 42 is a massive liquidity zone. Stop losses, leveraged positions, retail panic sells. They are all stacked right there. And the big players, they know it. They will hunt that liquidity before the cycle turns around. Third, institutions providing a floor. We are not going to see an 80% crash like 2018. The ETF market corporate balance sheets holding Bitcoin, they create a structural support, but they do not prevent a sharp, fast shakeout down to 42K. Fast, brutal, and over quickly. This is the setup I'm watching for. Now here's the part that actually matters. Every single person who panics at 42K, who sells because it feels like the end, will watch Bitcoin recover to 6 figures and beyond. We've seen that 3 times before. The pattern does not change. The fear feels real every single time. And every single time, the people who stayed calm and had a plan came out ahead. The summer lull is not the end, it is the setup. Now I promised you something at the beginning, the one thing I'm personally doing right now while everyone else is panicking. I'm not buying, I'm not selling, I'm waiting. But I'm not waiting empty-handed. I have a very specific plan ready for the moment that Black Swan hits. A setup that only works if you are prepared before the crash, not during it. Because during it, exchanges could freeze, emotions take over, and rational thinking disappears. The people who make life-changing money in these moments are not smarter than everyone else. They are just prepared. So my advice to you, do not wait before the bottom to start thinking. Start thinking now. If this video gave you a new perspective on where we are right now in the cycle, drop a comment below. I read every single one. And if you want to stay ahead what's coming next, you know what to do.